Okay, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, as I mentioned, tonight's a very special night. We're here to welcome our friends, our kababayans, our family, all the way from the Philippines, all the way from Tacloban. This man needs no introduction, so I'm gonna let the mayor talk to you, talk to us about why they are here, and they're here for a cause. They're here for a reason, and we are all here to help them. We are here to support them. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me this great pleasure to introduce to you Mayor Alfred Romualdez of Tacloban. Mayor, please, let's give him a big round of applause. Sir, thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Maupay nga gabi, hayong atanan. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. And of course, my wife, Christina, and the I Love Tacloban Band. I'd like to thank the organizers, especially Miss Elena, who's been really she was with us in Tacloban, and she saw for herself what was going on there. And we're very honored for this this lovely evening, you know, that all because, you know, of your influence and support. Thank you very much. To all of you that are here tonight, I know many of you have traveled from different places. I'd like to tell you that it's actually very rare for me to appear in fundraising events like this one. In fact, this is the second one, the second time that I'm attending a fundraising. And the first one was in Seattle, Washington, by the Seattle Seahawks, when they were still the champions in the Super Bowl. And this is the second one. I have been to Singapore twice. I spoke and lectured to several mayors coming from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. In the Lee Kuan Yew School of Government. Been there twice, going back there on May. I've been to Washington, D.C. I was a guest at the World Bank World Conference on Reconstruction and Rebuilding, and also in New York last October for the Climate Change Summit, invited in the United Nations. And Israel also last year, and several other events which I'm attending in the next few months. And the reason I do that is because of the overwhelming support that I saw, I witnessed, and experienced immediately after the storm. The typhoon was obviously the most powerful one that ever made landfall. It was recorded at 378 kilometers per hour. That was about 240 miles an hour. And it stayed in our city for about 2 hours. And a lot of things happened. A lot of things you've heard in the news. But I'm not here to bring you more bad news. I'm here to thank you for all the support. And my wife and I always make sure that we not only thank the people who have helped us, but we'd like to share some of our experiences, which we hope will be very useful to you. Hopefully not in a disaster, but you can never tell nowadays. To begin with, Tacloban City, we have a population of about 240,000. But being the regional capital of Region 8, composed of 6 provinces, during the day, we have a population close to 900 to 1 million people. We have 4 universities. 80% of the students are not from Tacloban. And about 90% of all the commercial banks are located in Tacloban. That's why we're the regional hub, the economic hub. It's a very, very dynamic and busy city. In fact, we were, before Typhoon Haiyan hit us, we were in the top 10 most competitive cities. We still rank in the Department of Interior Local Government as an awardee, consecutive for about 5 years, the Seal of Good Housekeeping, and we ranked number 6 in good governance and transparency. Now, just to give you an idea, it's like we're talking here, we're sitting here, and all of a sudden the lights go out. Then you check your cell phones, there's no signal. Then you go outside and you see, as far as your eyes can see, everything is flat to the ground. What do you do? That's to give you an idea of what happened to us. There were many, I would say, competing priorities during that time. But what do? It was harder for Tacloban City because of, like us, who are used to city life. You practically cannot leave home without a cell phone, and all of a sudden, your cell phone doesn't work, there's no signal. There's no gas station, there's no road. All the roads are covered with debris. We actually hauled close to 500,000 tons of debris out of Tacloban City, which were hauled to the dump site. It took us about 3 months to do that. So you ask yourself, is it possible? Can something like that really happen? Well, it did. In fact, if I was not from Tacloban City, I would not have recognized where I was and how I would go about and move around. At that time, you ask yourself, are you still the mayor? Are you still a leader? Who do you lead? There's nobody to lead. I started with 7 men, eventually got up to about 14, and as the hours went by, it increased. The following day, we only had about less than 200. From 293 policemen, we were down to 23 policemen. The storm surge that hit our city had an average from about 14, 15 feet, and some areas were 25 to 30 feet. Unlike a tsunami, when the storm surge hit us, it hit us in 3 waves. And the third wave was about the highest, it's about 18 feet, and the water did not go back. It did not recede till about 2 hours. I only had a few minutes to get up to the roof, and I could see my city from there. There was nothing you could see. It was all water as far as my eyes could see. I was separated from my family. My two daughters and my wife were about 700 meters away from me. We didn't know what was happening till about 2 hours later. Then I went to them. Thank God, they survived. Now, it was something we never expected. People were saying, well, they didn't know what a storm surge meant. But actually, it was really a new way of life and a creation now of a new mindset. Because that storm surge that hit us was tsunami-like. And talking to the oceanographers, it's really a one-of-a-kind storm surge. That water had no place to go. It got stuck in our city. That's why it practically demolished, destroyed everything on its path. We lost about 3,200 people. Out of that, 500 children. Now, people are asking, were you warned? Yes, the difficulty there is when you're told a storm surge of about 5 to 7 meters, but how far inland would it go? And it went even more than a kilometer inland. So now, what do we do? I've been speaking in different countries as far as Israel, in the UN, New York, Singapore. I just came back from Japan last month to study the disaster preparedness in Sendai, which was hit by a tsunami, to learn and to go around and speak in different countries and share our experience. I'm trying to narrow this down to about 10 to 15 minutes, which I normally do in 3 hours. Because there's so many aspects to be talked about in disaster preparedness. When you talk of first response, you talk of rehabilitation, reconstruction. There's so many aspects we have to look into. We were fortunate enough that the United States response was very quick, decisive, and well coordinated. Because being the regional capital, everybody flocked to the city. In about a day, 2 days' time, I had more than 1 million people in the city of Tacloban. It was very hard to control. We had looting, we had jailbreaks, you name it. People were panicking. We had bodies lying all over. And it was sad because people were comparing us to Banda Aceh, which you can't. Because I was arguing at the time with the national government. I said, I need to retrieve the bodies to empower my people to start moving on. But they focused on survivors rather than the dead. But I said, you know, people will not move unless we take care of their loved ones. So this was what we had to do. It was a struggle, but we were able to move on. And I myself am surprised that so many help and support came from different countries all over the world, and how we were all, and how the world united in helping the city of Tacloban. And you wouldn't believe this, because I went to a hospital ship. They picked me up in a helicopter, and the hospital ship came from People's Republic of China. And when we landed, I saw the George Washington aircraft carrier, which was about 8 to 10 miles away, and we were surrounded by the 7th Fleet. It felt pretty strange, but I was surprised that everybody was here and all the help in first response.